Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships and Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we got a bit of a double feature for you guys in the Kansas. We got a couple of good games for you guys to see. I think you guys are going to enjoy this. Again, I want to say thank you guys for all of the support. You guys have been pretty awesome. And I'm not going to lie, I'm in kind of a rough state right now. Mentally, more than physically. Like, physically, I feel okay. It's just that my eye is extremely sore, as you guys know. Still a lot of swelling. I expected the swelling to be going down. Hasn't. And so I think this morning, we'll be calling the surgeon to see if there's something I should be worried about. Because they said 3 to 4 days I should be back to doing everything normally. And I'm in a lot of pain. I can't look to the left without feeling like my eyeball's getting ripped apart. And on top of that, I've just got a lot of swelling still. It's rough. So bear with me as we continue to try. The mental side of things is even worse. I'm a mess right now, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I am a mess right now. So yeah, we're going to try to get through this for you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoy. First match, we're going to be on Greece, and we're going to the right side. Now, this is going to be one of those times where I kind of showcase that you don't always need to rush things. Now, you guys know, I like to be the most aggressive Battleship player out there. Like, I enjoy being aggressive, and this Helena, I'm not going to lie, he's lucky that he decided to stop. You can't do it. Maybe he knew and was doing that on purpose, or maybe I just didn't see him slowing down. But he's got a whole lot of torpedoes heading his direction from, assuming, our carrier. And between that and then other people shooting at him, he's going to have a rough time. He's going to take at least one line. He's actually going to slip it. Well done. But we take another shot at him, and of course we're going to start worrying. You'll notice that we weren't sailing flat broadside. We were sailing angled away from them because we were expecting shots to be coming in. Now, there is an island over here on this far right side that is perfect for shooting over top of, even in battleships. You got to get to a very specific part of the island. If you don't stop early, if you stop too early on this side of the island, that leaves you available to be spotted and shot from the people in the middle of the map. So if you get spotted, obviously, if you're able to shoot over the island at them, guess what? They can shoot over the island at you. So keep that in mind as we get a good shot here on the Brandenburg. And these guys, for whatever reason, they just forget that I exist over here. And it's going to cost them dearly, as this Kansas just has the most ridiculous accuracy of any battleship at its tier. It's not even close. There's no battleship at tier 7 that has the accuracy of the Kansas. It just doesn't. Alabama's really good, but for overall, look at that. Look at that. Do I need to say it? Like, good God. You're constantly hitting 2/3 to 3/4 of your shells. Like, it's insanity how good this ship is when it comes to just accuracy. And if you can get it into a position like this, where now we're on the backside of an island, and you're like, well, Spartan, you can't shoot over that island, blah, blah, blah. You're right, I can't. But I will be able to in this nice little gap coming up, which is the point. And you can see I'm already in full reverse to take advantage of this gap. You can see just as this guy makes his fatal turn here, we're able to get a shot. Now, the front guns go into the island, the rear guns do get through, and the rear guns are going to be enough to take him out, giving us our first blood medal. And we're at 39,000 damage. Again, not the best damage already in this match. Like, we've taken a little bit of time to get here, but that guy was up close. Everybody else is at a distance that's going to allow us to shoot. Now, I'm still assuming that the front guns are going to go into the island here because there is that hump in the island. But we're going to try to be reversing, get into that gap, and try to hit these guys from distance. And as you can see, all of the shells make it. Look at that accuracy. Tell me another battleship at tier 7 that's that accurate. As we sit at LMN, hit him with 6 shells. Oh. He knew he got touched, is what I'm saying. Now, Flounder, not to be outdone by the Lion, the Flounder's like, you know what? I know that there's a guy over here somewheres, but I can't be bothered to actually pay attention to him. Lion gets spotted for just a moment. Flounder goes undetected. And this kind of position really does rely on your teammates actually keeping things spotted, as we're going to get some ghost shells from the rear guns because we got into that little rock behind us. But some of these shells are going to make it through, and the ones that do are going to make it hurt a lot. And you can see I'm not going full throttle forward. I'm just trying to find the happy sweet spot in this island that I can sit and just absolutely annihilate these guys. They're all sitting here broadside because they're bow tanking my team, who is black hole strategy right in the middle of the map. Both teams have 2 caps, so this is what you call a stalemate. And where do you break the stalemate? Working for those crossfires, and we have ourselves in an absolutely beautiful crossfire. And unfortunately, that shot didn't do as well as we were hoping. But still, he knows that he can't just sit there. And you can see it's forcing these guys to move when otherwise they would just sit there. And because he turns broadside to the rest of my team, Bismarck easily able to finish him off. Now, this requires some decent gunnery because we're a long ways away. Well, only 14 kilometers from this Flounder. And you can see, I'm trying to see how I'm going to take this shot. It says that I don't have a shot. But as he slows down, we go ahead and take that shot. You can see we are starting to run out of opportunities here. So now is the moment that we need to start thinking about pushing up. And it's time. There are moments in every match where you realize that you can no longer take advantage of the enemy from where your position is. And while we have done a very good job of getting those crossfires early on, now we get to showcase the Kansas when they have no choice but to respect us. And at this point, they're too late. Like, this Flounder is broadside to a Kansas with all his guns to bear, and he can't even turn his guns to me for at least 25 seconds. So, we get to sit here and get a full shot out and a reload by the time he's going to be able to even shoot us. And of course, by then, we're going to be bow in and slightly angled to him, and he's not going to get much out of it. So, not only are we in a position where we have already absolutely smashed this man, but we are in a position to dictate the engagement from here on out and take very little damage in the process. We're going to be able to get our full broadside loose, and we're going to be able to get bow in and avoid any serious damage from him. Look at that accuracy. Now, obviously, that wasn't the best placed shot in the world. We were aiming for superstructure. He started going forward. Didn't quite give enough lead there. But you can see where I'm going with this. Now, obviously, the Flounder here is getting burned down by my teammates. He's getting frustrated. He's trying to make the plays. And at this point, he's going broadside to my team to go bow to me. So I don't even worry about him anymore. I've done my job. I've gotten him to turn broadside on in front of everybody on my team. So what do? I start shooting at the broadsides of the Iowas out in the distance. These guys are bowing to my team. They're doing what Iowas do best, and they're going to pay the consequence as my Kansas reaches out and touches them for everything. But in true Spartan fashion, we got to leave them with just enough to get away. Now, you can see Flounder goes down. We didn't even have to shoot him. Because we went bow into him and started shooting at his broadside, we forced that man to actually turn away from my team, which gives my team the advantage. And this is the importance of crossfires. As we already took all the help from the first Iowa, now the second Iowa is just sitting there in the exact same position, in the exact same vulnerable position, as we get another almost identical result to the first one that we hit, and we pick up our Confederate and high caliber. And there's still a lot of people out here to shoot. Make no mistake, but both of those Iowas go down in very short order due to the crossfire that we created with our push. And you'll notice on the map, I'm actually in the cap starting to pick up a cap too. So we're doing that part of the team as well, trying to guarantee those wins. Now, we get hit with a double fire right off the bat here. We're shooting blindly over the island at the shores, and the shores is very, very lucky not to be citadeled right there. He was begging for it, and he realizes real quick that I am a threat. As if it hasn't been blatantly obvious at this point, as I have ripped their entire team apart. Now, you'll notice I'm not even using my heal or my damage con. I use my heal. I got 2 more heals. I am expecting to continue to be put on fire, so I don't want to use my damage con right away. I want to save it until we're about to take this shot, assuming that the Helena's about to die, and we don't actually kill the Helena, because I leave everybody alive. It's just what I do. But that was the goal there. And now the shores that we left on no health, and the Helena that we left on no health, and the destroyer that's sitting there are all going to start shooting HE at me. And I got a minute and 15 seconds before I can actually use a damage con again, which means we're going to be multi-fired again. But again, we're anticipating the Helena's turn out. We know that all we gotta do is scratch this man and he's a dead man, so it's really not that difficult to finish him off. Now here you can see I'm trying to dictate where I'm going, and I actually screwed the pooch there and got very, very lucky that that wasn't a flood. Like, that could have been the torpedo. It's all about anticipating those torpedoes, and when somebody launches a widespread like that, it can actually catch you off guard. Because those outlier torpedoes are so far away from where you anticipate the torpedoes being that you can catch an odd errant torpedo like that. And with a damage con that's 30 seconds away or 40 seconds away as it was, like, it can be very, very difficult to survive a flood in this game. Now, obviously, we've got will to rebuild, but our destroyer, for whatever reason, is running away from the Summers. I'm assuming it's to drop his torps. You can see his torpedoes are going. But we're spotted by the carrier, which means the Summers gets to sit in a smoke screen and bomb away at us. I'm not particularly worried about him. I was really hoping that he would either get spotted or the carrier would get spotted, but the game's almost over. 974 points. We completely dominated this match. 176,000 damage, and I was really hoping the carrier gets spotted here so I get another shot. But it's just not going to happen. As I believe this guy ends up eating a torpedo in the smoke screen, and that ends the game, but maybe not. Nope, doesn't look like it. So he ends up surviving. We get a fireproof, I think, on top of our other medals, just because of the fires that we let burn there at the end of the game. But again, that showcases where you balance your aggression. We end up with the fireproof, the first blood, the Confederate, and the high cal, all the things. 176,000 damage, 2,374 base XP. Now, this next match is going to be on Northern Waters, and we are in a division with Mod Squad. You guys remember from yesterday's video, this is another one of those good games that we ended up with. He's in the Alabama this time, and I am in the Kansas. And this is going to be one of those matches where I end up being extremely aggressive, as you guys know and love, and it's going to pay off. At least, it would have paid off. But we'll go over that in a minute. So we're going to push off to the right side. Now, obviously, when I look at this scenario, I'm like, okay, there's 2 destroyers, there are 2 cruisers on our team. If I can go over and support those cruisers, then we have a good chance of at least being able to deal with the destroyers. Because, obviously, Kansas, other battleships, very difficult to deal with destroyers because you can't see them. Unless a destroyer makes an incredibly stupid maneuver, like, you're just not gonna get an opportunity to kill them. That's just the way it is. Like, battleships are not supposed to kill destroyers. If you get an opportunity, absolutely take it. But it's not the way it's meant to play out in this game, which is why destroyers have such a huge advantage over battleships. That's why we have carriers, and that's why we have cruisers. Cruisers are supposed to hard counter destroyers, and carriers are supposed to help find them. Now, in this match, we don't have any carriers. It's mostly battleships, a couple of cruisers, a couple of destroyers. So it's going to be a brawler type of match. And, as you notice, there's a Montana over there, and there was a Minotaur pinging, so this is a legendary match. And a lot of times I've heard that, you know, the Kansas is just not capable of competing in a legendary match. It's just not. And that's where I say you're wrong, respectfully. But we take our first shot at this Montana, and as you can see, no problem competing at legendary tier. We're getting a 15,000 damage salvo, mostly because of the one single citadel that we managed to hit him for. Obviously, he fires back at us, or at least I think he fired at us, but it looks like he's actually shooting at Mod Squad. So we're okay in that sense, and you can see I'm kind of looking. Montana's right on the edge of my range. Don't think I'm going to be able to hit him, so I start measuring up everybody else, and you can see that they're all starting to angle, but I go ahead and take a shot at the Flaunder, assuming that his goal is to go over to the right side. And so I want to cut that off. Now, Mod Squad's actually going to, he's going to make a couple of big oofs in this one that's going to cost him dearly, and potentially our team later on. And you'll see what I mean when we get there. But the plays that he makes aren't necessarily bad. It just so happens that, oh my god, hello, Mino. Come on, stay spotted, please. 4 seconds. God bless America. 4 seconds away from being loaded, and the man disappears. Wait, he's lit. Come on, Spartan. Hurry. No, God. Why? Why does it look everywhere except where he is? Minotaur. Okay, there we go. And adjust the shot and just take it. You miss all the shots you don't take. Am I right? Am I right? Well, I am right. You miss all the shots you don't take, but sometimes it's glorious. It's absolutely glorious. That's why you take those shots. Because you just never know when you're going to catch that guy feeling all nice and warm and fuzzy behind his little island thinking he's safe, and you just reach out and touch him with American 16-inch guns. It's beautiful. But Bismarck's pushing in. Our guy has gone full crazy mode in a freaking Minotaur and thrown his ship away. Remember, we only have 2 cruisers. But his push manages to torp the Bismarck, and then the Bismarck turns broadside to me to avoid those torpedoes, and that allows me to hit him for 25,000 damage. No Citadel, just 25,000 damage with full penetrations. Just nasty. Things that other battleships just plainly don't do, but a Kansas does. And of course, in a few seconds here, we're going to go ahead and finish off this Bismarck, get him out of here. Look at that accuracy. And of course, we fire our guns, and the Gross Kurfürst manages to hit him. And I'm like, where even is the Gross Kurfürst? Gross Kurfürst on the far right. But he shot the Bismarck for reasons, instead of shooting the guys that are out in front of him. Now here, you can see I'm pushing into, we have a Yamato over there on the far left, we have the Montana over there on the far left, and we have a potential for a beautiful broadside. Now we're obviously spotted by a plane, and the Mino is bombing on us from the backside of an island. But we go ahead, take a shot while we can stay undetected behind the island at the Yami, because you never know. While I'm not expecting big damage out of this, if we do hit the superstructure, it's going to hurt him. And you can see we get a little bit of damage, not a lot. But the Kansas is so accurate that even catching superstructures, as we showed in the Iowa video the other day when we were on Two Brothers, a superstructure hit on a Yami from full, like when they're full health, you can get 15 to 20,000 damage. And the Kansas and the Montana are experts at farming superstructures, especially when before they're saturated. Hitting 20 to 25,000 damage superstructure hits is not uncommon. But now that we get a more broadside angle, you can see we are capable of citadeling that Yamato, even at 16 kilometers, which just goes to prove that this is not a bad ship at any sort of tier, legendary or not. And this Yamato's, he's swimming right into the torpedoes. There's nothing he can do here as he goes down, eating 3 of the Akizuki's torps to get finished off. And so that's huge. Our team manages to take him out. Now, right now, we have the advantage in terms of the caps. We have lost a cruiser and we have lost a destroyer. They've lost 2 battleships. Now, that's going to come in real big later in the match, because the 2 most important classes to not lose, especially early in a match, are destroyers and cruisers. And the reason for that is because of their utility, their ability to affect the entire match. Now, you can see right here, you can make an argument, well, Spartan, there's a destroyer spotted in Bravo, you're not even looking, you're so focused on the right side of the map, and you are correct. Had I actually paid attention to this destroyer right here, there's a good chance that I helped take him out and potentially change the way that this game ends. But I'm tunnel vision, and this is a mistake that I've made on more than one occasion that I call out when I do see it. It does happen. Tunnel visioning is a very real thing, and it does cost you matches, and this is one of those opportunities. We had more than ample opportunities to get our guns on that destroyer and take a shot. Would we hit him? No one knows. At the ranges that we're at right now, there's a good chance that we actually hit him and do significant damage to that destroyer. And when you see them later in the game, you're going to realize that had I taken that shot, there's a very real opportunity that this guy would have died. Okay? Now here we're trying to place our shot into the bow side plating of that Iowa. We get 1 shell to go where we actually aim it, getting kind of a troll dispersion there. But, you know, we've had a really good dispersion up to this point, and we don't want to go full broadside and get the rear guns because this Iowa will make us pay. But as soon as he fires his guns, that allows us to get our rear guns involved. Now, we opened up a little early as he gets his 3rd turret involved, but as soon as he opens that to get that 3rd turret, he's dead. Like, there's just no way he survives that. Now, here I am being very aware of the fact that there's a Mino on the backside of that island. And I know that a Mino can absolutely wreck me if given the opportunity. Now, because we didn't shoot that destroyer in Bravo Cap, we're actually going to get it's going to cost us, because now they have 2 caps and we only have 1, which means they're getting the points advantage, and every person that dies from here on out is going to increase that points lead for the enemy ships. And that's going to be very hard for us to overcome. Despite how well we actually play this, we're already at 117,000. You can see there Alaska's just waiting for an opportunity. And so I finally make the decision that I have to respect the Alaska and start turning now, so that I don't get caught as soon as I go to shoot this Flounder by the Alaska. So I'm anticipating getting shot by the Flounder here, and for whatever reason he decides to shoot the Gross Occur first with HE. And I'm like, okay, well, that was perfect. We timed that really well then. This allows us to get angled away from the Alaska, which we know would be using AP and has fantastic AP. The Flounder appears to be thinking about going for a ram here. So we're kind of waiting for the turn in. And as soon as he starts his turn, we're like, okay, just wait. We've got plenty of time. And as soon as he opens it up, we're going to go through that bow side plating and absolutely wreck this man. And we do. And take him down. That protects our GK from being rammed. I'm not sure that he made the turn quick enough to ram our GK anyway. As you can see, GK managed to slip through anyway. GK, while it is a very large ship, is pretty quick for a battleship, especially if it's already at full steam. So keep that in mind. Now, we have the points lead right now, but again, the enemy has the cap advantage. And as we lose our Alabama to their Friesland, then that kind of switches it back. We had the lead, and now they had the lead. And because they had the 2 caps, and I'm a very slow ship, it's going to take time for me to wrap back around. Now, we know there's an Alaska here, and we know that there is a freaking Mino here. Now, our GK did manage to die, so that's unfortunate. And that's why we ended up flipping so harshly. But the fact that we have 1 cruiser left, it is a radar cruiser, but we have 1 cruiser left, and this is what boggles my mind. We are radared by the Alaska, and he still makes this stupid decision. What are you thinking? Like, you knew I was here. You can see he really recognized that he screwed up, but it was just too late. We managed to... He's very fortunate that he's in Alaska, because anything else gets citadeled into oblivion right there and never gets the opportunity to get away. The fact that he actually squanders himself away from me for a little bit longer is actually going to hurt my team even further. That should have been a kill. I think we can all agree that that should have been a kill. You royally f***ed up. Backing out in front of a fully loaded broadside battleship of any kind in a cruiser should equal death. But for the Alaska just has that weird citadel that's slightly underwater that just means that it's almost impossible to kill. And, or at least to citadel to death. Now, Akazuki managed to take out the Alaska, and this is just uncalled for. I don't care. You're in a radar cruiser with sonar, and you get torped to death by a freaking Akazuki, which only has 4 torpedoes per launch. Like, I don't care what your thought process was. Like, that should never, ever happen. But this is a 4v2 situation. Our battleship is going to get into Alpha Cap and be able to stop that from being a potential problem. The Mino decides that he wants to hide behind the island, which is actually a good idea. It allows him to shoot at my battleship, but my battleship should be able to theoretically shoot back at him, as you can see, and he does, and takes out the Mino. That's huge. And we know that the Alaska's right here somewhere. We know the Alaska was running away from us, going towards the Flounder, so the Flounder might have a chance to take him out as well, and further take this match in potentially our favor. But you might be seeing an issue with how this ends up. Now, obviously, we're detected. We know there's a destroyer out there. The destroyers that are against this aren't particularly scary. An Akazuki and a Friesland, I mean, there's fire there, but I'm not scared of torpedoes. And this Alaska, he has chosen death. He's running into our Flounder, who decides to go away from him. And that's the worst possible move he could have made for 2 reasons. One, it exposes its broadside to battleship caliber guns. The Alaska has 305mm high velocity guns that are nasty. So he gets absolutely pounded, but eventually is able to open up the angle, and that's going to allow him to take him out. Now, the Akazuki starts firing. You can see we're placing the shots here. We know roughly where he's at, and so we go ahead and take the shot. Like, we know roughly where he's at. The Alaska goes down. We do get three overpins on the guy, and then as soon as we fire our guns, the Friesland gets spotted. Now, obviously, with the amount of HE coming our way, we've got to manage our damage controls really well here. We don't want to rush a damage control and end up on 3 fires and die. We're 8 seconds away from being able to shoot, and of course, you can see the torpedoes, which we expected to be coming. Friesland is begging for it. We go ahead and take that shot. Unfortunately, he disappears, and all of these shells are just going to miss. Right? It's one of the most frustrating parts about this game is when a target disappears and you're shooting at them. A lot of times it throws the shots off. It makes you shoot deeper than you had anticipated shooting. Like, I was planning on shooting just off the bow of a ship, and of course he gets respotted immediately thereafter because he realizes I shot and he's in no danger. Now here, there's nothing I can do. They have the points lead, they have the caps lead. I'm trying to push my way into the cap. We are double fired. We're not worried about burning to death here because we will be able to get our freaking thing back. We know that there are torpedoes potentially coming, so we're going to have to, like, be mindful of that. We don't want to be taking torpedoes. We are spotted, which means that either the Friesland has backed up or the Akazuki has backed up. Now, these destroyers, honestly, played this absolutely atrociously. They should not be engaging at all. Every time that they re-engage, you can see Flounder's actually going right for that Friesland. If he engages that Friesland is done. He does not win that fight with that Flounder. And so I was really hoping that that's what was going to happen. They looked like they were trying to throw, and while this game is coming right down to the wire, these guys recognize that, hey, if we screw up one more time, there's a real chance that we lose this match. And they smartly decide not to do so. Both of them just turned and ran away, which is the absolute correct choice for them to make. Because, again, if they make one more stupid mistake, they're both dead. As that battleship ended up in the perfect place to potentially counter that Friesland, and I'm in the perfect place to counter this Akazuki if he decides to start shooting. Now, unfortunately, by the time I get in the cap, it's just too little too late. There's nothing I can do here. We knew those torpedoes were going to be coming, which is why we turned to the right slightly to go behind the island, which is unfortunate. You can see, just out of frustration, me firing my guns, hoping to get him to shoot at me and give me a chance. But unfortunately, that's just not what happens. But we really did try. And it was a nail-biter game, but just goes to show you can't be throwing away your cruisers, guys. You just can't. Especially for a Bismarck and getting torped by an Akazuki when you're in a freaking Alaska. Like, there's no reason for that. Our two cruisers threw this match for us. But anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. And if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.